Okay. Hi everybody. I'm recording live because it will just put it onto the platform, and so I don't have to make a video, and then it takes like 5 hours to upload. So I don't expect to see anybody on this live. Okay. I've been having some trouble with my throat. Like you can hear that it's going out. Anyways. Oh my gosh. Right when I start, my voice is all excuse me. Good thing there's nobody on. Okay, so what do I want to talk about? First of all, I want to say hello. Hi, you haven't seen me in a while. I used to do a lot of YouTubes back in 2018, 2019, 2017, those years, because I wasn't doing acting. So I guess this video is gonna be about a little catch up, and then a little bit of talking about how to go from, basically a little bit about my journey, and hopefully this helps people. I wanted to, in my head of heads, I keep thinking, let me make a video about how, it's funny because you can see a She-Hulk thing. Let me make a video about my experience with, doing Marvel's She-Hulk, without obviously breaking any of the NDA or anything. Just my experience, kind of lightly touching on like how I got to that point, what happened, what risks did I take. So I guess I'll just start off by saying I'm not I'm not an average bear. I'm not like an average bear in the sense of like I never followed the rules. I never followed the rules in a, not in a bad way, not in a disrespectful way where I'm breaking the law, but in a way where it's like I never followed the rules, with what my peers were doing, like when I was in high school and stuff. I started becoming like, I think I was always like that, just because when I was a kid, I was super observant of everything. I understood from a very, very young age things that I probably shouldn't have understood. I'm not going to get into all that. I just want to kind of go and share why it's good to be different. Why is it good to be different? How to identify if you are too much in I'm trying to say this in a nice way, but basically I meet so many people in this industry, and a lot of people at this point are younger than me. I'm in my early 30s, and when I go to sets, I'm cast with younger people because that's my age range. So I hear a lot of their, I talk to a lot of people. I like to talk to people, so I hear a lot of things that they say, and it's like, oh, I remember I used to be like that. And it's so interesting now because I'm in a place where I don't necessarily, I'm in a weird place. There's no rule. I feel like there's no rule book for people in their 30s. Like I feel like the world is built for a certain kind of lifestyle. And if you deviate from that lifestyle, you're kind of just tend to be more isolated, tend to be more alone. So it's like I have to go out of my way now to like be in the community and do things with people, like taking classes, making friends at these fitness classes, or like volunteering, stuff like that. I have to like go out of my way to do that. And I think something I didn't know when I was in my early 20s or in my 20s was like how hard it would be to maintain friendships living in this kind of a world where my lifestyle is different than the majority. And it's almost, this is why I brought up what I brought up earlier, but it's almost very similar to how when I was a child, I grew up like in a regular middle class area. And there's levels to middle class, and I know I was in a middle class, and then I went to the lower middle class because it was single parent. We just didn't have a lot of money, but we had enough. So that was when I was a child. When you're a child, you don't really have the say, you don't have the control, so you kind of just go along with everybody, but you start recognizing and understanding yourself more the older you get, and then you start understanding around you. And a lot of times I can remember when I felt, this is going to sound super weird, but I remember what it felt like to be unconscious, like, to everything around me, because it was more fun. It was like ignorant is bliss. It's like that saying, ignorant is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Because I didn't know. I didn't know a lot, and I was a child and I was just having fun. Like, I didn't know. And then when I experienced what felt like moments in my childhood that were like, that was not okay. That wasn't good. That was like traumatizing. I didn't really understand what was going on. So I just kept going. But each of those moments kind of broke me out of that unconscious state, like really early on. So I started to pay attention to things around me when I was really young, like 9, 10, 11. And then by the time I got to like middle school, I started noticing patterns of like, oh, these people are hanging out there. These people, if I go hang out with them, I'm gonna, end up getting in trouble because these kids want me to do drugs with them and stuff. Which is a real story. Like, I had best friends that were like trying to get me to cut school, and then I was like, I don't think I should do that because I want to go to this other school. I wanted to be a basketball player at this high school program when I was like 11 or 12, and I saw the school and I was like, I want to go there, but I didn't know. I had no clue that it was like a Catholic school. I had no clue that it was a private school. I had no clue that it was going to cost so much money, which did end up affecting my family back then. But I ended up going to that school, and when I was in high school, I was even more aware. And this is the sad part of, like, this all wraps around, I'll tell you, but this is the sad part of when you're a child and you've seen things that you should probably not see, and you've experienced things that you shouldn't experience. Because the world becomes less magical at a younger age. And now that I'm in my early 30s, it's when I moved to the LA area in 2020, when the pandemic started, I lost my job in the Bay Area. I was working at a startup. I had a whole, basically, I guess, different but the similar kind of lifestyle. Like, but then I would just go to a 9 to 5, but in the morning I would I still wake up at 4 in the morning. I used to wake up at 3:45, 4 in the morning and do my artwork. I wasn't doing any acting at that point, at that time, but I knew in my heart that I wanted to be in the entertainment industry. I just didn't know how it was going to come. I just had no clue. I had been in New York City. I lived there for 2 years. Failed, in my opinion. I'm not going to say I failed. It was one of the best experiences of my life. I didn't fail at anything because I wasn't trying to do anything. I did go there to try to do modeling, and as soon as the agent was like, I got this contract for you, except you're going to have to lose weight. I think I was like, I don't know, probably the same weight that I am now. I don't even know. I work out a lot, so I'm maybe not. But the way that she said it, and it was just like, other women, other girls would probably do that, would probably go, and they are doing that. They do that. They do starve themselves, and trigger warning, this whole thing, they do starve themselves. They do what it takes to get these modeling jobs. But I just didn't want to do that. I just had issues already with my body. I had issues with my body, and I'll leave it there. I won't go deeper into that just yet. But I was also an athlete. Every time I'm on here, I swear to God, every time I'm on here talking, do you hear that noise? What the fuck? Like, where the fuck is that coming from all of a sudden? It's 3 in the afternoon. Like, it's too hot to blow the leaves. It's like 100 degrees. Anyways, I'll try my best. But so as soon as she was like, come back in 2 weeks and be thinner, basically, I was like, what she said was specifically, my hair was, I had teal highlights in my hair. I was doing my thing. I loved it. But specifically, I guess I won't go into specifics because I don't want to push on that toxicity, because I still see it in the industry. It's still very alive and well in the industry. It's still very alive and well in the modeling world, and even in the beauty industry on TikTok. Like, you can see with every beauty trend, oh, oh, the buccal fat, whatever the fuck that is, get it sucked out of your face because you gotta have that face. Now it's a trend. Now there's something wrong with your cheeks. Oh, there's something wrong with your nose. Oh, there's something wrong with your chin. There's something wrong with your neck. There's something wrong with your forehead. There's always going to be something, and it's just going to go in a circle. Anyways, so because of my experiences when I was a kid, and because I was too aware when I was a kid, I made different choices. And hey, oh yeah, I'm gonna wait. What? I recently learned about how the process of looking fantastic the most on screen, and kind of makes me. Oh, okay. I didn't know there's people watching. Oh, it says right there. Oh, hi. I have to like turn my head because I want it to be widescreen. And I hope this posts right after because, yeah, I really hope that's how it works because then I'm going to be screwed. Anyways, but yeah, no, I'll get back to it. Because I was too aware when I was a kid, I understood that through my experience as a college athlete, I had a very traumatizing time as a basketball athlete. In college, I was bullied. I was hazed by my freshman year, teammates and coaches, keyword, and coaches and the coaching staff. I had developed 2 stress fractures that year. At one point, they did not believe that they thought that I was making it up, that I was injured. My stress fracture, my shin bone was like broken. It was on the verge of just snapping in half. That's how stress fractured it was. But I knew from those experiences after, when I started to think, oh, maybe I want to do modeling. Oh, I really want to do fashion. I really wanted to, but unfortunately I had so much self-hate, and I had so much hate for myself. Unfortunately, I just was body shamed to the max, and I was in therapy. I had developed eating disorders in my early 20s. I was playing college basketball, winning championships with an eating disorder, in front of everybody. I was desperately unhappy as a basketball player. And at the same time, it was the only outlet that I wanted to pursue, and go professional and play in the WNBA. I really wanted that dream. But the more I kept playing, the more I kept getting injured. And I felt my dreams die. And I don't know if you've experienced that, but I don't talk about it because every day I don't think about it. I mean, I don't think about it as often because I kind of moved through those feelings already, but it's a very emotional experience. It's a very humbling experience. It's something that I don't know if a lot of people experience, but I gather most people have experienced some form of disappointment at some point. Like, I was faced with the reality of my body continuously breaking down on me, like back injuries, to the point where so many doctors were like, oh, you're not going to run ever again. You're not going to play. I was told this my junior year, and I had a year and a half left to play, and the doctor was like, you're not going to play ever again. You're not going to run. And I was like, no. I just told him, no. You're not just telling me that. I'm not accepting that. And I didn't, and I worked my ass off through a spinal injury that developed into bursitis at the age of 2021. And then after that, I just was not caring about my body image so much, but I know that it developed when I was at that age because I was body shamed severely because I gained weight during my freshman year. Literally, the coaches would taunt me during practice and would be like, oh, did you eat a cream puff today? Oh, so I had a severe body shaming thing developing. I didn't realize that I had also it had developed in my youth too, because when you're picked on for so many years about something that you literally can't control, and I can't control my height. I'm so sorry to the world and to the men and to the women that I've heard picking on me when I was a kid, to the girls, literally children when I was a child, adults when I was a child, teens when I was a teen, and throughout my entire life, at every stage, I've heard people making comments negatively about my body size and their own body size. regardless. Most of the time they were shorter, way shorter than me, and they're complaining about being too tall. And it's just like, or it was my teammates in college when they had these badass arm muscles from working their asses off, complaining about not looking feminine enough. And I'm over there wishing I had some kind of arm muscle, because my genetics, you will not see any muscle on me unless I probably have like 0% body fat. That's just how I am. I remember getting so thick, and I was like lifting hundreds of pounds. Like I was doing it with the rest of my teammates, and you just couldn't see the muscle on me. I think that's my Polynesian blood. Anyways, so yeah, no, wrapping this around, it's kind of funny. Excuse me, my voice again. Wrapping around, it's kind of funny that I would get one of the very first big things that I did in the industry as the onset reference for She-Hulk, just because, given my history, you know, of being shitted on, like quite literally shitted on by so many people, and there was very few, I'll say very few, but unfortunately few is already too many. There was like about 2 key times in my life where I did want to not be here, and I tried to take steps to do that. But each time the first time God brought me a best friend, and then she ended up becoming my teammate, which was interesting. Just threw her in my path as I was walking back to my room in college, because I had just found out that I was going to have to be out with another injury for like 6 more weeks after already sitting out. And then, yeah, the whole ordeal, you know, college basketball is not something that I will ever push on anybody. If you decide now, given my experience with life, when I was like 19 or 20, when I was like 18, after high school, I used to think, oh, they just don't want to go because they're just not good. Like, they're not good enough. They didn't make it. Like, they're not talented. They didn't, which partly is true. Like, not a lot of people get Division I scholarships, full scholarships, or go on to play pro. So that part is actually true, but also there's a lot of people that could have played and they just decide not to. And I never understood that until I got to around like the last few years. I didn't understand. Maybe like 5 years. Within the last 5 years, I started to be like, oh, okay, now I get it. Like, if I had chosen to stop playing basketball when I was 18 years old, I probably would have saved my body a lot of these injuries and the pain that I live with every day. I would have to experience that. And then I think, well, if I, oh my God, what is going on here? I'm still gonna speak. I've still got a lot to say. And this has been a big thing. Part of my journey has been my voice and me speaking and saying, and this is kind of like one of the biggest things that happened to me that affected my life, which is what I'm going to use to inspire people. It's interesting that my voice keeps trying to give out. Kind of lost my thought, but oh, I was going to say, if I had kept playing, I would have risked the chance to injure my body even more, and could be in a worse position right now. Could be literally not able to walk, which is how bad my back is, was. I work out really hard now, but I do smarter workouts. I don't do a lot of walking anymore. I don't do a lot of like the same thing. And if I do, I stop and I go like I've been doing a lot of hot yoga because it is helping. I do feel great. However, I'm reached the point to where I've done it so much now, I need to take a break. So I'm taking 2 days off, and then I'm going to start adding swimming in too on top of hot yoga, just to balance my training out. Yeah, weight is an interesting thing. I wish nobody could experience being body shamed. And what's interesting about being me, I guess, is I try to add to this conversation, but every time I feel like I'm trying to say what my experience is, I get invalidated. I feel as if I become invalidated by people, by this body positive movement, because I don't fit into, oh yeah, I'm not plus size. But they did want to sign me as a plus size model in 2014. which is very interesting how times change, right? I'm definitely not plus size. I'm definitely mid-size. But I'm just very tall. I'm a size 12, which honestly shouldn't even matter. Like I've never felt and seen so much toxicity, not only just in the entertainment fashion world, but mostly fashion world, the modeling world, but also in the sports world. Like, you might not think of it, but it is there. I was picked on for gaining weight. I was picked on initially for being too skinny, because when I went to college, I was like 170 something. I didn't weigh myself at the time. I didn't know anything about that. And then within 4 months, I had gained 30 pounds because I was absolutely stressed out. I was being overran on purpose. The coaches were overrunning us on purpose, trying to get us to quit the team, because they weren't the coaches that recruited me for 2 years. They were random people that just threw in there. Which now looking back, sometimes I'm like, man, I wish I didn't have to experience that. I wish I could have just went to San Diego State, which was my second top choice. It was University of Arizona and then San Diego State. And then I maybe wouldn't have experienced that, but then also the career, could have been different. Could have been very different. So I don't, now looking back, it's like, it's all over. It's that part of my life is over. My 20s are over. And now I'm in my early 30s, and I'm in a interesting place, because it's like, I honestly, I've learned so much, but also I feel like I have so much more to learn and so much more to see and so much more to do. And a lot of the time when I'm in LA, I fill my time up, because I don't like sitting around too much. Like today, I'm tired. It's a rest day for me. I'm exhausted, actually. I've been doing a lot and just trying to push through, break through like a workout barrier, because if you work out a lot, like you can understand your body, you can understand where you need to push yourself harder to kind of break through. I did that, so now I'm like, I gotta rest for like a day or two. But also, the rest of the week, I'm honestly trying to get a job now. I haven't had a service job. I haven't had really any job except for like part-time jobs. I try to keep those down to a minimum, so I take like side hustle jobs and stuff. I haven't had anything like that in 4 years. Yeah, it's been 4 years. I was thinking, like, what's the date today? We're in July. I haven't any kind of job like that in 4 years, and this is the first time I'm looking for like a part-time job. Not saying like, oh, acting is, the industry is slow. The industry has been slow apparently this past 2 years, 3 years, because of the pandemic. I just got severely lucky, and I wouldn't even say severely lucky like that. I think I had already been manifesting that. And that's kind of what I wanted to say. Like, when I lived in New York City in 2014 and 2016, I was going there to become a model, and then I decided I didn't want to do that because it would have been very, very unhealthy, really unhealthy for me. So the same day, I actually ran into somebody just was like, hey, do you want to be an actress? And I was like, yeah. They kind of put the thought in my head. That guy happened to be in the industry already, which was interesting. So I met a cool contact. Nothing happened with that. Although, looking back, I'm like, man, such a different person. Every stage, I want to say every 2 years, I'm a totally different person. It feels like every 2 years, totally different person. At that point, I hadn't discovered my self-confidence as much. I quite literally was wandering around New York City by myself and losing money and not having any idea or clue what I was doing. I just wanted to be somebody else because my whole world was basketball and I had just left it. And every little did I know, everybody was going to be asking me if I play basketball for the rest of my life. So that was interesting. It's like feeling like I was trying to run away from my past and my basketball life, only to be confronted by it every single day. So I remember just walking around. I was really got into my gothic phase. I was walking around wearing all black all the time. I like had a long black skirt with black boots, and I would wear it with a black uh jacket. So I don't know what kind of jacket it's called, but I used to walk around in New York City. Like, I loved it. But I also hated it because I used to walk by all these rich areas and just see all these family. Like, I was so lonely. I was so lonely at that time. Throughout my 20s, it just felt like I didn't get to enjoy my 20s because not only did I unfortunately have to be traumatized at 18 years old to 19 years old, when that happened, everything was dim, like the light. I felt like I was dimmed, like there's a light that I had that was just turned off because of what I experienced. And then the next years was just me trying to chase that, find that light in something, and find a love for the game of basketball that I had, only to realize that I shouldn't play anymore because it's like I felt like God didn't want me to play anymore, which was heartbreaking for me. And those disappointments, those experiences really make a person, I feel. Every day, I try not to, but every day I feel like I think about certain kinds of experiences and how they relate to my life now, and things that I'm trying to change, and how I'm trying to move forward and build something, and struggles that I face and walls that I hit where I'm trying to do better and be better, be a better version of myself, or like build something that's better than this box that I'm living in currently. And the mistakes that I made, and it's just like, maybe that's just not the point of this life or this experience right now. Maybe I'm supposed to just kind of flow through it and not identify too deeply into exactly what is anything at any given moment. And then when the pandemic hit, before that, I don't really have anything spectacular to say other than when I left New York City, I developed a love for acting that I didn't know I had. I did a promo action film. I was booking things, indie films that were just in talks, like with indie filmmakers and stuff. And when I did my first promo action thing, I don't even know where that is. I don't know anything about it. I don't know a lot of the things that I did in New York City. I swear to God, I don't know where they were posted or anything. They could have been posted out there. They could be anywhere. I did a Latin American Music Award commercial where they had me dancing in Chinatown in New York City. That was interesting. I have never seen it. I don't know where that is. I did a promo action film. I booked a lead role in some indie film that never happened. When I walked in, it was at the New York City Public Library. I walked in, and immediately this guy was a stuntman. I had no clue about stunt people at the time. And I walked in, this guy was like upside down, and his legs were at the wall next to me. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? But it was cool. That was my first time doing action stunts, and I fell in love with it. And ever since then, it was just like, oh my God. And also, I was a big fan of Marvel. Growing up too, I grew up with brothers, so I was always watching like a mix of like girly stuff and then actiony stuff like Marvel. Marvel became my favorite. I loved Star Wars at the time. I loved Star Trek. I loved Harry Potter and the Lord of the Rings. I'm a stan for Lord of the Rings. What is that? Anyways, so that was like 2014, right? I think that was 2014 or 2015 when that happened. And I was in New York City wandering around, didn't have no money, lost my phone, wasn't able to pay for my phone. Didn't have a bank account went 000. Thankful to my mom, she allowed me to go back to her house. And that's where it kind of like, there's a blank space of 4 years, because that 4 years went by like that. I was probably the most unhappy I had ever been in my life. I don't have anything spectacular to say about that other than it didn't feel great to feel like I had to take on a different career, because I had just fallen in love with entertainment and acting and wanted to do that. But I understood that I wasn't handling myself, wasn't able to pay for my own housing or whatever, etc. And I was facing and living with depression and severe eating disorders at the time. So I went back to the Bay Area, there for 4 years, and basically did nothing in acting. Was pushing myself to do modeling photos, because at the time I had very bad self-esteem, and I was like, I need to figure out how to push myself to see myself beautiful, because every day I was like telling myself, I'm so ugly, I hate myself, like that takes a toll on you. And then at the same time I was fighting against it. I was like, no, I'm not, I can do this, I can do this. So I was working out, you know, a lot. I was working out while I was trying to lose weight. I was trying to just be happier. I was on a spiritual journey, spiritual quest. And I think that's when I started manifesting the role of the on-set She-Hulk character. I had no idea about She-Hulk. All I knew is for those 4 years when I lived there in the Bay Area, I was alone a lot. And I used to go on these long-ass walks / runs. I used to go work out by myself all the time. I still do. I just now I try to be around more people. And I would visualize being an action movie character, like a Marvel's movie character. I would literally visualize it in my head, and I would be walking by myself, and I would be like doing all these moves and like da da da, and feeling it and being really happy. And I think that played a part. And it's funny because in 2018, I started posting rap music on here. And sometimes I just love writing, so I like rapping too. I don't love it, but I like it. It's fun. So once in a while I'll make a song. Like I have songs that I've already written. I have songs that I recorded, but they're just so, I think they're so bad. I think they need to be re-recorded in a professional place. And I posted this, I made a song. The last song that I made in 2019, right before the pandemic, was called Jolly Green Giant, which I think is hilarious because in the video, I edited it so that we were all green and I was green. And I think that's the best example I can give. Like, that was in 2019. In 2020, that's when I had the screen test for She-Hulk in October 2020. I moved to LA area in June 2020. And so that's one of my favorite stories to tell people when they're like, oh, I don't know if I should do this. I don't know if I should keep going. I just know it's true. I know it's real. I love doing this. Or when I hear people and they're sharing with me their passions and they're like, I know that this, I was like, I know it is too. Like it is, that shit is real. Everything that you're seeing for yourself is real. Because it just is. You just have to keep going and believe in yourself and kind of like zone out the world. And that was like my wraparound from when I was a kid. What I learned is that you don't really get very far when you're following everybody else's, like you're following your friends. Where do they want to go? I learned real quick. I was like, I don't want to go there. I want to go here, so I'm gonna go here. And it made me the loner type a lot. But I wasn't willing to like do what other people wanted to do just because everybody was like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, that's not fun for me, you know? It's just always been my personality, not in like a mean way, just in like, I just don't want to do that. Like everybody wants to jump off of a bridge, like literally the saying where people are like, are you going to jump off a bridge if they all tell? I mean, sometimes you do want to jump off a bridge because it's super fun. If it's low, obviously, be safe. But if it's dangerous and scary, no, what the fuck am I going to jump off a bridge for? Thank you. Oh, is it really? I thought it was going to be a wide shot. God. Little do I know. How embarrassing. Oh, wait. What is this thing? So this whole time I was sideways. Okay, I'm just gonna move on. 35 minutes sideways. I was hoping that it was gonna wide angle it. I don't know. I don't really know. Sorry. Next time I'll know. Next time when I post, I will keep that in mind. I didn't know the life was like how awkward and uncomfortable. Maybe I should just go back so that it's all one cohesion. Anyways, yeah, so now I'm sitting here. It's been 3 years since we shot for She-Hulk. And that was honestly one of the best experiences of my life. It was amazing to feel like something that I had dreamed of came true, and it happened almost seemingly felt like I was in a dream. That whole like 2020 to 2021, I was dating somebody that I fell in love with. Unfortunately, it wasn't a great experience. That wasn't good actually at all. It was very traumatizing. I don't know what the deal is with like things where really good things happen. There's like the duality of like something really shitty also happening at the same time. But that's a whole different experience. I don't really feel comfortable. I don't think really resonates with this subject that I'm talking about at this point, but I will talk about that. But it just added like a little bit of like a cloud over a happy time for me, which I think was his intention the entire time that we were involved. He was purposely trying to hurt me in my life. Anyways, so now, and then the show came out in 2022. The whole experience I'm not going to go into today. It's already at 36 minutes, but oh yeah, the Oliver Tree one. That was interesting too. I didn't realize, I knew who he was, but also I didn't know at the same, because I only saw him on like one time on TikTok. I knew he had short black hair, but I wasn't sure if that was just a wig for that one video. And then I show up and I'm wearing like the same exact colors, and I was like, oh, I didn't mean to do that. I just wore this color because I like this color. And then so now we were like twinsies with black hair and the same color shirt. So I was like, okay, yeah, that's cool. But interesting about that too. So I had been like singing this song. Do you know that song is like one night, one heart, 7 purple people eater, pigeon down, flying purple people eater. Okay, you know that tune? I don't know where that's from. It's like a children's thing. Well, that song kept playing in my head like 2 weeks before I was even cast in that. And I was like, why does this song keep coming in my head? And then I went to casting networks and saw that Oliver Tree music video was casting, and the role, this isn't the role that I got, but the roles were purple people eater monster. It was literally from that song. The title was, they were looking for these character types. The roles that I got cast for was super specific because he wanted a tall woman, and apparently I was cast as a dancer. So when he like twirled into me, he like his whole body was on me. Like I had to catch his whole body. Not saying that he weighed a lot. I just wasn't expecting him to fall into my arms like with his whole body weight, but he did. So I had to like end up sticking my knee out. That's why in that one shot, which is funny that they took that shot there, I was like, I started laughing because I was like, this man just like let his whole body fall into me at this weird angle. So now I don't want to drop him. So yeah. Anyways, I forget why this is the thing. Whenever I talk on here, it's going to be all over the place, but I'm sure it's going to have some points in it that's interesting. But maybe what I want to start off saying is this is just an intro into me coming on here and speaking more. Often, this is one of my goals starting now. I like the live option because I think it's going to post it. What I got to say is that if you're somehow coming across this video and you resonate with any of what I just said today, any of my backstory, and I know I have a lot more to add, I just kind of briefed through it, but like facing feelings of humiliation, facing feelings of shame, being shamed for your looks or your body size, body image in some way, being bullied or being left out, being excluded, which is all things that I've experienced throughout my youth, teens, and my early adulthood, until I realized that, oh, I don't have to be around anybody that I don't like. I don't have to to believe any of that, and I don't have to prescribe to it, basically. I don't have to subscribe to what they're saying, because in my world, that shit don't make sense to me. It just felt like so many people really didn't want me at this point that I'm at, that I'm approaching right now. Which, I mean, I guess if I humiliated and bullied somebody to the point where they wanted to not be alive, I guess I wouldn't want them to like speak out about it either, right? But I don't do that. I'm just making a sarcastic statement. Like, it's really hot. I don't have the air conditioning on because I don't want the sound of the fan. I'm going to end this by just being like, now that I'm, 2 years out, almost 2 years out from the show coming out, that show changed my life, but not in a way that I can even really have the wisdom to share at this point, except for that sometimes, it's when you're around people in the entertainment industry and they see that you have something on your resume like that, they think for some reason that kind of a resume is going to get you way farther, way faster. And for most people, it doesn't. I don't think that it did for me. I think everything that I'm booking now is because I'm hustling like really hard, and I'm putting myself out there and making it a point to do that. And I'm trying every day, and I'm keeping that dream alive. This is what I want to say too. Like, I was in a 4-year, what I felt like was a 4-year wilderness when I lived in the Bay Area after New York City. It felt like I had discovered something that was going to be my passion, but I had to go to the wilderness to whatever, because I didn't have the funds and the means to do it at that time. So it felt like my 20s were just not very fun, and people are like, oh, your 20s are supposed to be your best time of your life. I'm here to say that it's not. I'm here to say that your 20s aren't the best time of your life. Could be. I think every time of your life should be the best time of your life. That's what I believe. Now, is it? No, because sometimes life is harder during some periods of your life. Like last year, I had no car, had no job, had nothing going on in the industry. The industry was on strike, but it wasn't the worst time of my life. It was one of the hardest times. Probably one of the worst years of my life, for sure. But it wasn't the worst time of my life. So, and then there's this year where I'm experiencing like pretty good things happening, and I don't talk about it. I can't talk about it too. I'm living in a box, so it's like constantly being humbled. Trying to get ahead, but it's really hard to do when you're alone. I've literally met people who've dated. I've dated people. I've dated men. Dated a man who married somebody for money. I didn't know he was married until very far into it, and then he was like, it's a fake marriage. I just did it because I wanted money and blah blah blah, and she needed a green card. So it's like, on one hand, I'm struggling and working my ass off to do this, while there's other people quite literally doing things like getting married just for money, for a handout. I saw the way he lived. And then when it all came together, when I finally realized like what kind of person that was, it broke my heart. And what kind of lies people will tell. That's why, like, you should be very careful about who you're being friends with and who you're dating at pretty much any point of your life, because they can derail you. But specifically when you're feeling like you're at an impasse and you're like, okay, this is what I want to do. I know I want to do this, and I got to stay focused. Because that man had every intention to destroy me. And he tried it. And he tried to multiple times. Something I don't talk about. But I've also had to walk away from friendships because I don't like being negative. I like to talk about things that are not as positive, but just to transmute them and then work through them and move on. A lot of people want to stew in the same thing over and over again. So you got to protect yourself, and you got to protect your dreams, and you got to protect your mind. But unfortunately, it's really, really hard to do that with all the things going on, especially when you're living in a high volume place where there's people all around. That's what I notice about LA. It's like there's just so many people here. There's just so many freaking people around all the time. And it's like you can't get a break. Like I walk outside and there's just people everywhere. That's what money buys you. Money buys you privacy. That's what some. If anybody asks me, like, what am I working so hard for? Privacy. Privacy. I want my own place because I want my own privacy. I want my own backyard. I want trees everywhere. I want a pool. I want to just lounge out by myself. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to sound rude. It's like I don't hate people, but I don't love them. I'm not gonna be Miss Mother Teresa and be like, I love everybody. I don't, because a lot of people are mean. A lot of people are mean, and a lot of people are overwhelmed, and they don't know how to act with manners in society, especially when it's an aggressive natured area where everyone's trying to get ahead and people are willing to literally do whatever it takes to do that. I think those are the lessons of life. Like, no, those are not flies. Those are dust bites or whatever. You've never seen that before, where there's like dust or orbs? Weird. Please don't call me a giantess on here. There's another topic I would like to talk about, is this whole thing with the giantess thing. I found it very annoying when I was first on social media that so many people just randomly started following me because of me just being tall. And now I just use it to make extra money. If you want to be for real and ask me, do what? Those are dust bites. I see what you're saying now. That's not a fly. I don't have flies in my room. That's disgusting. If you have flies in your room, that means you have like, it's dirty. Or it's just freaking hot because it's summertime, people. Anyways, I'm getting tired. I'm rambling. Maybe there was no point to this whole thing. Maybe there was. Maybe if you found it interesting, cool. Basically the point is, I'm here. I'm just practicing talking. This is my intention. I'm here to talk, and it's kind of like when you go to open mics and you want to practice stand-up comedy. You just kind of go in and you start talking. Just kind of see what's the crowd like. What's the crowd like? This or that. What are they gonna laugh at? What can I say that's gonna be funny? This is not like that. This is not. This is like it, but it's not like it at all. So thank you so much for being here. I'm gonna go now. I can put a filter on my face. These are horrible filters. Oh, let's make black and white. No filter. What else can I do? Okay, bye. I'm gonna share it now, and I'm gonna be highly frustrated because half of it's gonna be one way, so then half of it's gonna be the other way. So next time I'm gonna film it straight up. Yeah. So thank you so much for being here. Catch me live randomly. So bye. Wait, how do I share it on here? I'm so confused. How do I end this? Okay, wait. Are you sure you want to end streaming?